Okay, we're going to do a Pythagoras recap. We did start this before the holidays, but I can't remember how much we did, so we'll just start from the beginning. So Pythagoras' theorem is here, c squared equals a squared plus b squared. C is always the longest side, it's also known as the hypotenuse, and it's always opposite the right angle. So this is always C. Once you've labelled C, then it doesn't matter where A and B go. So A could go here or B could go there, and whatever one's left goes last. Now, we are going to do two examples. We're going to do an example of finding the longest side, because I know we definitely did that before the holidays. So example one, we've got a triangle. This is 8 centimetres, this is 6 centimetres. We want to find the length of this side. So first thing we're going to do is label the triangle. So your right angle is here in this corner, so that means the side opposite it is C, and then the other two are A and B. Remember, it doesn't matter which way A and B go for these ones. Then you write down your Pythagoras' theorem, so c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Then on the next line, you put in the numbers. So we don't know what c is, so we're going to keep that as c squared. A is 8, so I'm going to put 8 squared instead of a squared. And b is 6, so I'm going to put plus 6 squared instead of b squared. Then I'm just going to work out what the answers are. So 8 squared is 64. 6 squared is 36. We still don't know what c is, so I'm going to keep that as c squared. I'm going to add them together. So 64 add 36 is 100. And then at this point, this is c squared. You need to get rid of the squared, so you do the opposite of squaring. And the opposite of squaring is square rooting. So that cancels out this little squared and just leaves us with c on its own. And then you need to work out the square root of 100. So you can do it in your head, or you can type it in the calculator. So it's the square root button, and then you would put 100. If you're doing it in a phone, I think it's the other way about. I think you type the number first and then press the square root button. I can't remember, you'd need to try it. And the answer is 10. So a nice easy one. If you got an answer with loads of decimal places, remember you would write 10 point blah 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 and then round your answer on the next line. Example 2 is slightly different because we're trying to find one of the shorter sides. So looking at this drawing, the side opposite the right angle, which is the longest side, already has a number, so we already know the length of that. So I'm just going to label it as we go. So this is C, and we already know what C is. The other two, we know one of them, and the other one has been labelled A, so that's the one that we're trying to find. So if that's A, that's C, that means this one must be B. Now, when you're finding the shorter side, you're still using Pythagoras' theorem, but it looks slightly different. So normally, Pythagoras' theorem starts with c squared and it equals a squared plus b squared. If you're trying to find a shorter side, we turn it around a bit and it starts with a squared, because that's the one that you're trying to find, and it equals c squared, which is always the longest side, take away b squared, which is the other side that you know. So the longest side squared, take away any other side that you know. Okay, so as long as you remember this, all the steps are the same. So you start by labelling your triangle, then you write down your formula. So this time it's a squared equals c squared take away b squared. On the next line you put in the numbers. So we don't know a squared, so we'll keep that on the left. We do know c is 13, so it'll be 13 squared take away b, which is 5, so take away 5 squared. Then we're going to work out the answers. So 13 squared is 169. Take away 5 squared is 25. Keeping a squared on the left. Then 169 take away 25 is 144. And once you get to here, it's the same as before. You need to square root both sides of the equation, so that gets rid of the little square sign on this side. So we're left with a. And the square root of 144 is 12. Again, you might need to put it into the calculator depending on what the number is. If you get decimal points, put them in and then round it on the next line. But this one worked out nicely as well. So that means that this missing side is 12 centimetres. So same process, you label your triangle, you write down the formula, but the formula looks slightly different, and it's always the biggest number squared take away the smaller number squared. And then all the steps are the same, square root it once you get to there.